Hey guys, Erin England with Revolved here. So my daughter's home from college and she challenged me to do a simple one color manicure. I haven't done one of those in a really long time and she wanted it to be red. I don't have any red polygel, so I thought this might be a good opportunity to try custom mixing again. I have a gorgeous red dip powder that came in my Beetles dip powder kit that I just loved. And I got a really large tube of clear polygel the other day from Amazon. This was about $7 as I recall, and it's a really large tube. It's like 60 ml, so I should be able to get quite a bit out of it. This is the Beetles color. It's Z357. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous red. The picture just doesn't do it justice at all. And what's interesting is it looks a lot different dipped out than it does actually in the jar. So I thought that was pretty neat, and I thought it might be interesting to see what it does mixed in a clear polygel. And with my experience with the darker polygels, sometimes they don't cure very well, so I'm going to have to be very careful mixing. So I've got my good old South Carolina shot glass damping dish handy. I've got 70% alcohol that I'm going to be using with my slip solution, or as my slip solution rather. I just don't really like slip solution as a slip solution, oddly enough. And in true use what you've got fashion, I've got a clear glass ashtray for my mixing plate and my good old Gelin polygel tool with the brush and picker tool. I tell you what, I have gotten my money's worth out of this one. It came in a Gelin polygel kit, and I just use it constantly. I've even had to glue the end back on, actually. Oh well, hey, it's still working, so why replace it, you know? All right, so I'm going to start with a generous amount of clear polygel. There's really no scientific recipe for mixing it. I've looked. It's basically just trying it. And I tell you what, this clear polygel is super duper thick. It took a lot of hand strength to get the amount out of the tube that I did. So I'm not as concerned as it being runny as I would be with some of the other ones. And since I'm going to be adding dip powder to it, it may actually be extremely stiff to work with. So I'll be interested to see how that turns out for sure. So I'm going to dip the spatula end into the slip solution before I touch the polygel so the spatula doesn't stick. Boy, that stuff is thick, thick, thick. I'm going to just move it around a little bit, try to soften it a little bit before I start adding the pigment. Isn't that a beautiful red? So I'm going to put in some pigment. Again, there's no recipe for this. It's just eyeballing it. And again, I want to make sure that I don't make it so opaque that it won't cure. I had some blue Rosalind, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, polygel that I used before, and it just would not cure for love nor money. Of course, I didn't have a great lamp then, and there is no way I would try doing a pre-mixed opaque polygel without the curing lamp I have now. It is super, super strong. All lamps are not made alike, and I would not attempt this probably even with a 48 watt. So I'm going to do a swatch on a fake nail, and it's an opaque nail. I wish I had clear ones because it would probably cure better, but I just wanted to see what the color was going to do cured, because it is a very different color in the polygel than it was in the jar. It's really more of a corally, red color. It's kind of hard to tell in the video, but it is not like a true red. So I'm just going to work that onto this little false nail and see how it cures. So I just want to make sure that I get a nice even coat, similar to what it would be like on, a nail on a paper nail form, or actually dual form honestly would work okay with this polygel too probably, but I'm just not a huge fan of dual forms. I'm going to be doing my paper forms again with this one. So you can see it is certainly not a true red right now. All right, I cured it, and it didn't cure perfectly, which doesn't surprise me because the little nail swatch that I used was not opaque. I didn't really like the color. I didn't think it was even close to a red like I wanted it. So I threw caution to the wind and I added some more red dip powder pigment before I decided to go ahead and apply it to the nail. So I've got it a little bit deeper red, and I'm going to apply it right on the nail. I've got my nail form in place. I've got my good old painter's tape to try to hold that nail form steady. I've seen a couple of other nail artists on YouTube, report kind of the same thing. You have to try to stabilize the nail form on something underneath sometimes to keep it from moving and warping. So I'm just going to work that polygel. I'm going to start with the cuticle area first. Get it nice and smooth and as thin as possible before I start pulling the polygel down over the rest of the nail and onto the nail form. I've decided I don't want to go super, super long. I do like the way it looks, but since I'm not, super sure how durable this polygel is going to be, since I have, custom mixed it myself, I don't want to, put a huge amount of pressure on it by making it super, super long. So I'm just going to work the polygel around until I get it to the shape I want and the length I want. So pretty close. I like that I can move the polygel around with some slip solution on my brush. I do try to blot off the brush. You don't want to have so much solution on it because it can, break down the polygel a little bit, make it not as thick or durable, and sometimes it can cause lifting. So I do try to, tap the brush off on a paper towel. I'm just making sure that I've got the shape I want, the length I want. I am going to try to go in and make sure that that area where the nail comes off of the finger is thick enough that it can handle some torque there, being a nail on my hand. Since I am creating a nail out of this gel, I am going around and cleaning up the cuticle. I have definitely found that the more time I spend getting the shape right before I cure it, especially if the polygel isn't runny or too soft, that I'm happier with the result. I did go ahead and cure in my lamp, and when I pulled it out, I noticed that there was an area there on the other side of the nail that was not the right shape and was not thick enough. So polygel is great in a lot of ways, but it is super great in that even after you've cured it, you can go back in and add and patch in if you need to. It's super forgiving, and I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people think it's beginner friendly, and I would have to agree. I mean, it's hard to remove, and there are some things about it that aren't easy, but the fact that you can go back in and fix it after you've cured it, I think is huge. The more you do ahead of time, the less filing, shaping, and buffing. So I've cured it again. I do like that it has fully cured. I did go back and cure the underside of it because when I removed the nail form, it had not fully cured. It was a little bit gummy, but it does look like it has cured. There aren't any soft, weird spots or gummy spots in it. So I'm pretty confident that it's ready to go. So these are all of the nails with the polygel applied to it. I've done some filing and shaping, and I will go back in with builder gel on top of it. A lot of people cap with clear polygel. I thought I might cap with clear builder gel just so it wouldn't be overly thick and a little bit easier to apply. This is the Savaland brand of builder gel. It came in a kit with multiple colors, and I do love their top and base coat, and so I do also, like using their builder gel. It is super thick. Now, I like the gel, but I am not a super fan of this brush. It is really kind of flat and squat, and because of the thickness, the viscosity of the builder gel, it just is kind of hard to control. So I may actually wind up getting a little short, stubby brush similar to what I use for polygel to use with my builder gel. The builder gel in the bottle is great when it does have the brush applicator, but this brush applicator is just not my favorite. So I'm just going around and making sure that the whole nail is capped off with the builder gel. Builder gel is self-leveling like gel, so it will, smooth out, whereas polygel will not. So that is another nice feature of builder gel. It will, smooth out with some gravity, and you can go back around and you can make sure that it's the coverage you want and you've got full coverage before you cure it, and it will give you a thicker consistency than just a builder gel top coat, a gel polish top coat. So I'm just going around the edges, make sure all the free edges are capped before I cure. So here is the finished product with builder gel on it. I have not top coated it yet. I did go through and make sure that I had cured the underside of the nails, and they're actually a pretty nice red. I agreed to do a single color nail, but I did not say I wasn't going to add anything to it. In fact, I just got a new rhinestone kit with an applicator tool from AliExpress. And so I am going to bling these nails a little bit. The last time I did bling on nails, I used a toothpick and it was a disaster. So I've got the real big girl rhinestone kit. I've got the rhinestones that I want placed in my good old glass ashtray. You know, use what you got, guys. And I am going to bling these nails out. I'm going to use builder gel and top coat. So I'm going to go through, of course, first and clean off all the nails with rubbing alcohol. I keep that in a spray bottle and a paper towel just to make sure there's no oils or debris before I go in with the builder gel and the top coat before I put the rhinestones on. And I'm going to be using the UR Sugar clear builder gel that I have on hand as the builder gel to hold the rhinestones, and then I'm going to go in on top without curing with my favorite Savillon top coat. I just love how clear and thick it is. So I'm going to start by adding builder gel on the part of the nail where I'm going to have or possibly put rhinestones. It's a little bit broader area, of course, because I'm not going to surgically put on the rhinestones. So you're going to have some builder gel under the top coat without rhinestones on it. But this way you're ready to go if you decide to get a little crazy. And, sometimes I do get a little bit crazy. So I want to make sure that I've got builder gel on there to do whatever design I decide to come up with. So again, I'm going to go through with my nail and try to get any excess builder gel off my cuticle because, once you cure it, it's there. So I've got builder gel down. Now I'm going to put on a coat of my Savillon top coat. Again, not curing. It's going to be wet. And this way, we'll get the rhinestones in. They'll be top coat on, and then you're not as likely to get top coat on top of the rhinestones, which can impact their shine and how pretty they are. You don't want to have, top coat on top of your rhinestones. It just kind of takes away from how pretty they are. So I'm going to go ahead and try to make sure I get the entire nail coated with top coat. I'm going to go around and cap the edges with the top coat as well. Okay, pretty happy with that. I'm going to get off any excess from my cuticles and my sidewalls. All right, ready to go. So now we're going to go in with some rhinestone placement. And I really like this little tool. It's got wax on it, so it picks up the rhinestones so much easier and with so much more precision than that toothpick did. Oh my goodness, what a hot mess that was. And so this allows me to, really place it. And of course, the builder gel is still wet, so the rhinestones will slide. So I want to work quickly. But I can, of course, move them around and slide them around if I need to replace, because until they're cured, they're movable. So I was finally happy enough to cure that nail. I was pretty happy with the way it turned out. So now I'm going to go ahead and play around with the other nails and see what I come up with. Yep, wound up blinging all of them. Sure did. Look at that red though. Isn't it amazing how different the red was in the jar? And look, this is what they look like in the dip liquid. So if there's anything I can do for you guys real estate wise, give me a shout. 256-783-9248, Erin England Revolve Realty. And happy manicures, y'all.